Mitchell and Glenn Goldberg down on the field, and the New Image Drum and Bugle Corps has just come out of the infield here at Mitchell Park, and they'll be entertaining before the crowd that is really building. Cheryl, as we mentioned earlier, we'll be seeing athletes of a variety of disabilities, amputee, blind, cerebral palsy, les autres, and also, as we mentioned, the spinal paralyzed not here. But the pageantry must be very similar to, of course, what 1984 in Los Angeles next month is going to be like as these athletes are gathered here. And the anticipation of the athletes as they get set to march in, and they'll be marching in about 45 minutes, must be something great.
Sure, they have to be very enthusiastic, some probably somewhat apprehensive for the competition to come, but they've got to be excited. This is probably a high point in their athletic career, for most of them at least, and just as any other athlete, and many of them look forward to this moment, this week, which they've worked so very hard for.
You know, one of the things that impressed me in being down here earlier this week and watching some of the athletes work out and talking to them, they train as hard as an athlete training for the Los Angeles Games would.
Oh, probably even harder. I'm sure that they don't take many of the things that some athletes who are more able, so to speak, or at least considered to be, might for granted. They really train hard, they take it seriously, and their hearts are as big as anyone else's.
We'll be competing in 20 different sports here throughout the games, including track and field, and Cheryl will be working with me at track and field. You'll be seeing swimming, weightlifting, wrestling, archery, cycling, wheelchair soccer, table tennis, equestrian events, and fencing. All of these events taking part in the International Games for the Disabled. And as we mentioned earlier, in each of these events, athletes are classified by the nature and degree of their physical disabilities. Let's go right now to the New Image Drum and Bugle Corps down on the field and pick up some of their fine music. back at our broadcast location. Barry Landers along with Cheryl Toussaint, 1972 silver medalist winner in the 1600-meter women's relay. And you're looking at part of the crowd and the entertainment going on here as the President of the United States, Ronald Reagan, some 30 minutes away from arriving here at Mitchell Park. The formal part of our ceremonies will be getting underway. Well, a lot of people, thousands in fact, have worked to bring these games to Long Island, including the torch architect, Zev Silberman. And as Zev Silberman explains, it was a new experience for most, as we learn in our Apple Bank Spotlight. Feeling when you look up at an Olympic torch or a torch like we've just seen.
Oh, sure. It becomes very official when you see that torch light up. And you know that it's real and you're there and everybody's watching.
Well, let's go now to the field once again and get a report from our colleague Carl Reuter on the upcoming events. Will Bob be covering events? You'll be seeing Jiggs McDonald, the TV voice of the New York Islanders, yourself, Carl Reuter, Ed Ingles of CBS, Tom Galisi, CW Post coach, Cheryl Toussaint, and yours truly, Barry Landers. A whole host of outstanding announcers to bring you the coverage. And if you want to come down and see the events in person, and believe me, it is well worth it, one ticket, $20, will give you entree and entry to every single event for the entire 2 weeks with the exception of the closing ceremonies. Here's how you can get tickets. And they're available at Ticketron, and you can call area code 516-822-7337 between 9 and 5 p.m. And if you're anywhere in the metropolitan area and watching throughout the country on Sports Channel, we invite you to head to New York, spend a couple of days out here. Your heart will come away filled with great joy for humanity and for the ability of athletes who have overcome their disabilities and indeed are world-class athletes. At the University of Nebraska, she's going to be competing in the women's sighted opportunity to go to the Olympic Games as well as in the disabled games. She's a world-class swimmer. Again, another story of overcoming a disability. We'll be back with more coverage, of course, throughout the weeks and throughout our coverage here, continuing from Mitchell Park in Uniondale as we watch the Drum and Bugle Corps, the New Image Drum and Bugle Corps perform down on the field. And let's pick up some more of their music right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, the New Image Drum and Bugle Corps. Thank you.
25 minutes away from arriving, and we'll be back with more of our coverage of the 1984 International Games for the Disabled right after these messages.